Hi, welcome to our channel of IGNOU Audiobooks, Indira Gandhi National Open University School of Social Work, SOSW. Postgraduate Diploma in Social Work Counselling, PGDCOUN. MSW014 Relevance of Social Case Work in Counselling. Block-1 Basics of Social Case Work. Unit 1 Social Case Work as a Method. 1.0 Objectives. After studying this unit, you will be able to understand the origin and development of case work, the concept of case work and causes of human problems, the framework for case work practice, an overview of counseling, the similarities between case work and counseling, the differences between case work and counseling. 1.1 Introduction. Social case work is a method of social work practiced by large number of social workers in a wide variety of social service and other institutions. Social case work is based on knowledge, understanding and use of techniques that are skillfully applied to help people to solve problems. It helps individuals with personal as well as external and environmental matters. It is a method of helping people individually through one-to-one relationship that taps personal and other resources for coping with problems. Counseling, which is also a helping relationship, alleviates problems of individuals by establishing a helping relationship. The practice of case work is based on humanistic attempt for helping people who have difficulty in coping with the problems of daily living. In this endeavor, counseling is used by the social case workers as one of the techniques of helping. Both case work as a method of social work and counseling have certain similarities, yet there are differences between them. None of them could be used as a substitute for other. 1.2 Origin and development of case work. Though social work as a profession is a product of the 20th century, but as a helping activity it is as old as mankind. Historically, charity and philanthropy have always been concerned with religious, educational and personality building activities as well as the relief of destitution. It was during 19th century that helping was given professional shape. However, the exact beginning of social case work is still unknown. Several milestones enable in tracing its evolution. The professional method of case work originated in America when in 1843, the Association for Improving the Conditions of the Poor, AICP, was found and that approached the problems of poverty individually. The purposes of AICP were to visit the poor at their homes, to counsel them, to assist them and help them in getting employment, to inspire them with self-respect and self-reliance, and wherever absolutely necessary to provide relief that should be suitable to their wants. The charity organization Society, COS, was established in 1877 and started individualized service of providing relief to the needy through volunteers known as friendly visitors. Through the efforts of friendly visitor, scientific charity was evolved and the seeds of social case work were sown. By the turn of the century, schools of social work emerged and visitors in training received instructions in methods of investigation, diagnosis and treatment from experienced social workers. Developing out of the COS movement, the first Family Welfare Association was organized in 1905 by Mary Richmond and Francis H. McLean. Mary Richmond's book, Social Diagnosis, which was published in 1917, is considered as a first book in case work. It set forth a methodology of helping clients through systematic ways of assessing their problems and handling them. Social conditions external to individual were characteristic of case work during the early part of the 20th century. The thinking was that if the environment could not be changed, the individual should be removed from the environment even if it meant separating families. A shift in emphasis from external sociological factors to the individual's Conscious social attitudes marked an important step in the development of social case work. Problems were considered as the outgrowth of real-life experiences such as neglect and rejection. These case workers found psychoanalytical and the concepts of psychology very useful in case work movement. This was the mental hygiene and psychiatric era of social work. After World War I, the psychosocial component of the problem-solving method in social case work was focused. The social and economic needs of the Great Depression refocused sociological and reality considerations for social work. The problem-solving method applied in social case work nowadays marks a shift from traditional approach. In India, individualized form of helping has been in practice since ancient times. The literature of every religion contains the names and activities of teachers and sages who gave themselves and their resources to help others. The ancient Hindu Shastras and the Buddhist philosophy emphasize the activity of dan or giving. The stories of Gautama Buddha remind his kindness and understanding of the individual, which led to the transformation of a prostitute and a murderer. Social service as a helping activity has been in existence in India, in one form or other, through the ages. Social work as a learnt activity came to India in 1936 with the starting of Sir Dorabji Tata Graduate School of Social Work for imparting training to those who had a university degree and who were inclined to a career in social service. With the establishment of the Sir Dorabji Tata Graduate School of Social Work, the training for social work was changed into a full-time career-oriented, educational program. Casework figured both as a theoretical course and also as a method of practice in the academic program from the year 1946. The other methods of social work were incorporated into the curriculum later. Over the years, social work as a profession and as an academic program has been enlarged and enriched by new perspectives, ideas and theories. Casework still continues to be taught in School of Social Work and is used as a method of social work in different organizations. Thus, one can see that casework, in its limited meaning of a helping activity, existed from time immemorial. But casework as a mode of helping people on the basis of a person-to-person relationship originated in second decade of the 20th century in USA to help the poor. In this development, the focus of concern has been people in some kind of distress and those who cannot help themselves. The casework of the pre-professional period depended very much on the qualities of the heart of the helper: warmth, generosity, kindness, and to be of service to others. But modern social case work as a professional method requires, besides qualities of the heart, sound knowledge and skills. 1.3 Knowledge base of social case work. The theory underpinning for case work is derived basically from the profession of social work and from case work practice. The contributions from the behavioral and natural sciences are well recognized by the profession. The important contributing disciplines are dynamic psychology, ego psychology, and the various theoretical developments in sociology, social psychology, psychiatry, and cultural anthropology. Theories of personality and personality development, structure, and function are derived from dynamic psychology. Pavlovian and Skinnerian psychology is the newer strains of theory introduced into case work practice. Behavior modification proceeds from assumptions about operant behavior and practice focused on observable behavior that can be researched and explicated. Social case work practice applies role theory to case work practice. Role theory provides understanding of people using the services of social agencies who frequently believe they have failed in one or more of their social roles or in society's expectations of them. Social roles are culturally ascribed or achieved and everyone chooses from among Many roles within the group or culture to which he or she belongs. The performance or behavior of the individual in these roles, with some way, can be fairly accurately predicted. The knowledge about these forces and their culturally determined influences support the practice of the caseworker. Learning theory, adult socialization, small group and cognition theory, systems theory, and discoveries in biology and endocrinology are other streams that have been adapted for use in social casework practice and help to broaden the theory base of practice. Although social work borrows knowledge from psychology, sociology, and from the biological sciences, but the profession orders, arranges, adapts, and determines the emphasis from these contributions to make them more social work practice theory. The contributions of social work to the integration and adaptation of theories takes on a dimension of major proportions in its theory building 1.4 concept of social casework. Mary Richmond pioneered scientific social casework. She states that social case work consists of those processes which develop personality through adjustments, consciously effected, individual by individual, between men and their social environment. In 1915 she said that social casework is the art of doing different things for and with different people by cooperating with them to achieve at one and the same time their own and society's betterment. Again in 1922 she told that social casework is for change of the personality of the individual for proper social adjustment. Hamilton in 1956 defined that in social casework, the client is stimulated to participate in the study of his situation, to share plans, to make an active effort to solve his problems, using his own resources and whatever community resources are available and appropriate. Perlman, 1957, described social casework as a process used by certain human welfare agencies to help individuals to cope more effectively with their problems in social functioning. In this definition, Perlman has indicated 4 essential components of social casework in their relationship to one another. A person with a problem comes to a place where a professional representative helps him by a given process. Since this is the heart of almost any situation where a person seeks professional help, the distinctive characteristics are delineated, which are as follows. Person. The person is a man, woman, or child, anyone who finds himself, or is found to be, in need of help in some aspect of his social-emotional living, whether the need be for tangible provisions or counseling. As he begins to receive such help, he is called a client. Problem. The problem arises from some need or obstacle or accumulation of frustrations or maladjustments, and sometimes all of these together, which threatens or has already attacked the adequacy of the person's living situation or the effectiveness of his efforts to deal with it. Place. The place is a social service agency or a social service department or some kind of human welfare agency. Its purpose is to help individuals with the particular social handicaps which hamper good personal or family living and with the problems created by faulty person-to-person, person-to-group, or person-to-situation relationships. This purpose and functions of the agency come to life in the person and professional performance of the caseworker. Process. The process, named social casework, denotes the individualized aspect of progressive transaction between the professional helper and the client. It consists of a series of problem-solving operations carried on within a meaningful relationship. The client develops effectiveness in coping with his problem and or to so influence the problem as to resolve it or vitiate its effects. Over the years, since the time of Mary Richmond's pioneering work, it could be made out that social casework is a method of helping people to overcome their problems of social functioning through establishing relationship. 1.5 Causes of human problems. Problems of social functioning cause distress to the individuals and they require help to overcome them. It is important to note that these individuals are not mass of people but are unique persons. People seek social work help for their problems of living, as their normal coping methods may not be effective in dealing with the particular problems. There are reasons for coping patterns to be ineffective, and these could be described as follows. Lack of material resources. Social work agencies do not provide financial resources to give assistance to people who seek material help. However, when lack of resources makes it difficult for the individual to deal with a particular situation, then it is possible that the client can obtain financial help through the services of case worker depending upon the nature of situation and the policy of the agency. For example, it is possible for the poor patients in a general hospital to get monetary help through the social work department of the hospital for buying medicines. Misconceptions about situations and relationships, wrong notions about situations or circumstances prevent people from handling them effectively. Sometimes ignorance about existing services and resources delays action. Help is required to correct distorted perceptions and for obtaining essential information. Illness or health-related handicaps, physical or mental illness and health-related handicaps of various types make people helpless or irrational in the face of difficulties. For instance, if the main earner in the family develops severe illness, then wife may bear extra burden and face problems for which she may require help. The patient and the family members need help to accept illness of the former and to make realistic plans for the present and future. Emotional distress. In certain situations, strong feelings are aroused which make it difficult for the person to act sensibly. For instance, sudden death of a spouse could be a shock for other. In such emotionally upsetting situation, person needs someone to verbalize feeling freely for catharsis. Personality features. Sometimes personality features of individuals create problematic situations for oneself and others but also make the person incapable of solving problems of life. These include unhealthy attitudes and beliefs deeply embedded in the personality, which may cause numerous problems in human relationship. 1.6 Framework for Practice. The foundation of the practice of casework is a conceptual framework consisting of certain philosophical values or assumptions, purpose, values, sanctions, knowledge, and methods are at the heart of social casework practice with individuals. These are as follows. Purpose. Purpose is the reason for practice. According to Freinlander, 1991, the purpose of casework practice is to help individual client to solve or to prevent or to cure the breakdown of a healthy relationship between an individual and his family or other associates. It helps people to identify and resolve problems in their relationships, or at least to minimize their effects. In general, the purpose of social casework is to help an individual client to solve his psychosocial problems in such a way that he finds himself capable of dealing with these problems at present and also may solve them in the future. Mishra, 1994. Thus, social casework has the following objectives: to understand and solve the internal problems of the individual, to strengthen the ego power, remediation of problems in social functioning, prevention of problems in social functioning, development of resources to enhance social functioning. Values. Values determine workers' attitudes and approaches. Social work assumes inherent worth and importance of the individual and interdependence between the individual and society. In the democratic tradition, powers are delegated to the individual and people. Social institutions are created by people and are subordinate to their desires and wishes. They are formed by individuals and exist to serve them. They can be changed or renewed, but the individual remains and enjoys a certain supremacy Emphasis is placed on the importance of respect for the dignity of the individual and on his or her ability to make important decisions. Basic assumptions about people profoundly influence professional practice, and these philosophical value postulates are as follows. The value and worth of an individual is uppermost. Man and society are interdependent upon each other and have social responsibility for one another. Each person is essentially different and unique, yet each person has needs in common with all others. In a democratic society, the potential of each person is realized, and it is assumed that they will accept social responsibility by actively participating in society. When an individual is unable to function, society has a responsibility to remove the obstacles that prevent achievement. These value orientations are the result of philosophic thought over years of human existence, and belief in these values is a necessary prerequisite in order that casework may be effective. 1.7 Process of social casework. The process of casework consists of different steps and activities. It is constant movement of the continuing development of the case that involves several activities that are carried by worker and client individually or by both of them together. Study, assessment, intervention and termination are the main steps of casework process. Study is the systematic study of the client and circumstances in relation to the problem. During this phase, the client is engaged in presenting the problem. This marks the beginning of relationship that is an important thread throughout the process. In the study phase, client makes decision to enter treatment. If the decision is not the service, then also the initial contacts should be positive. The attitude of worker is an important factor that controls the decision of the client. Respect for the worth and dignity and right to self-determination are communicated by interested concern, listening to statements of the problem, and by assurance that the client's views are of paramount importance. Data gathering and history taking concentrate on relevance. It helps in getting clues regarding the problem, the client's perceptions of the problem, and the way the problem was handled in the past. Such data are useful for assessment purposes and for decisions on treatment goals. Data gathering is not an end but a means and is justified if it serves the purposes of assessment. Assessment provides basis for treatment by recognizing the uniqueness of every person and situation. Assessment is dynamic, which begins at intake and continue till termination. It begins with the statement of problem by the client and result in understanding of the problem. It includes initial impressions that are accepted, modified, or even rejected in the light of additional information that as the case moves on. Assessment includes judgment about the strength and limitations of individual in coping with the situation. The worker and the client in assessment phase decide the goals mutually. Planning for treatment and treatment itself are guided by assessment. Intervention or treatment begins with the first contact. The process of study is considered treatment when it helps the client to clarify the problem and make changes in life situation resulting from this understanding. The client and worker together decide the goals for intervention. Relationship is the mainspring of social casework that is nurtured by warmth, genuineness, and congruence of the worker. The skills of intervention include interviewing, recording, referrals to other agencies and services, and helping the client use personnel and other resources. The efforts during intervention support and strengthen client's ego through emotional catharsis, reassurance, clarification of the problem, and patient listening. Termination means the ending or limiting of a process that was commenced when the agency, including worker, agreed to enter into the interventive process aimed at helping a client with a problem. The processes of study, assessment, and intervention are not everlasting. The plans to terminate need to be considered and understood alike. by the worker and the client. Termination fosters growth and change. The client can look back with satisfaction on what has been accomplished. It signals that the worker has the confidence in the client's ability to cope with situations and that the role of the worker is that of an enabler. Termination planning avoids the fostering of crippling dependence and false hope that may have been built by some clients that in some way the responsibility could be shifted to the agency or to the worker. 1.8 An overview of counseling. Counseling is a process in which the counselor assists the counselee to make interpretations of facts relating to a choice, plan or adjustment, which he needs to make. It is face-to-face situation in which, by reason of training, skill or confidence vested in him by the other, one person helps the second person to face, perceive, clarify, solve, and resolve adjustment problem. It is a warm, permissive, safe, understanding, but limited social relationship within which counselor and counselee discuss the effective behavior of the latter, including his ways of dealing with his emotionally toned needs and the situations that give rise to them. Counseling is a personal help directed toward the solution of a problem which a person finds he cannot solve himself and therefore seeks the help of a skilled person whose knowledge, experience and general orientation can be brought into play in an attempt to solve problem. Counseling is an interactive process conjoining the counselee who needs assistance and the counselor who is trained and educated to give this assistance. Perez, 1965. The counselor can initiate, facilitate and maintain the interactive process if he communicates feelings of spontaneity and warmth, tolerance, respect and sincerity. Smith, 1955, defines counseling as a process in which the counselor assists the counselee to make interpretations of facts relating to a choice, plan, or adjustments which he needs to make. Counseling is also defined as a process which takes place in a one-to-one relationship between an individual beset by problems with which he cannot cope alone and a professional worker whose training and experience have qualified him to help others reach solutions to various types of personal difficulties. Hahn and MacLean, 1955. All these definitions view that counseling is a process which involves bringing about sequential changes over a period of time leading to a desired goal. Counselor-counselee relationship is not casual but it is characterized by warmth, responsiveness and understanding. Counseling aims at enabling individuals to solve present problems to prepare themselves for future tasks, to attain higher standards of efficiency and well-being and to develop personal resources for growth. Some of the objectives of counseling can be summarized as follows. M.C. Leod, 1998. A. Counseling helps in the acquisition of an understanding of the origins and development of emotional difficulties and lead towards increased capacity to take rational control over feelings and actions. B. Person could become more aware of thoughts and feelings which had been blocked off or denied, or developing a more accurate sense of how self is perceived by others. C. Counseling helps in the development of a positive attitude towards self, marked by an ability to acknowledge areas of experience which had been the subject of self-criticism and rejection. D. Counseling helps in moving in the direction of fulfilling potential or achieving an integration of previously conflicting parts of self. E. It enables to find a solution to a specific problem which the client had not been able to resolve alone. F. It facilitates the client to acquire ideas and techniques to understand and control behavior. G. Counseling helps in acquisition of social skills such as maintenance of eye contact, turn-taking in conversations, assertiveness or anger control. H. The modification or replacement of irrational beliefs or maladaptive thought patterns associated with self-destructive behavior could be done through counseling. I. Counseling could be used for the modification or replacement of maladaptive or self-destructive patterns of behavior. J. Counseling seeks to bring systemic change by introducing into the way in which social systems operate. K. The client is empowered through counseling by working on skills, awareness and knowledge, which enable them to confront social inequalities. 1.9 Counseling within casework. Social case workers offer variety of services to clients like providing financial relief, help in getting work, medical aid, etc. In addition to these, they also provide counseling help. The term counseling is not used so frequently in casework circles. It is used precisely to emphasize the fact that in giving the client an opportunity to release his feelings, to find new solutions to his adjustment problems, the caseworker utilizes the same process as the one used by the other helping professionals. Counseling is in its essence is a helping relationship. All of us seek to satisfy our personal needs. While trying to gratify needs, individuals find themselves in conflicting situations in which their interests clash with those of others. Often this could lead to a sense of personal inadequacy and inferiority, which in turn leads to lack of self-confidence, withdrawal, and lack of desire for achievement. The counseling alleviates this suffering by establishing a helping relationship. In the words of Rogers, a helping relationship is one in which one of the participants intends that there should come about, in one or both parties, more appreciation of, more expression of, more functional use of the latent inner resources of the individual. Schutzer and Stone, 1968, mentions that a helping relationship is characterized by certain essential features, which are as follows. 1. It is meaningful because of its personal and intimate nature. 2. It is effective in nature, involving mild to strong emotional relationships. 3. It involves the integrity of the helper and the helped and is sustained voluntarily. 4. It involves the mutual consent of the counselor and the counselee, either explicitly stated or implicitly to be inferred. 5. It takes place because the individual in need of help is aware of his own limitations and inadequacies. 6. It involves confidence reposed in the helper. 7. It is often achieved and maintained through communication and interaction, and it involves give and take, that is, it is not a one-way process. 8. It involves a certain amount of structure. The situation is either vaguely or clearly defined. 9. It is marked by the desire for change in the existing condition of the client, that is, it is concerned with the improvement of the client. Most human relationships involve rendering or receiving of help. Over the years, importance is placed on providing help effectively and efficiently. In other words, helping has become professional in nature, and social case work is a professional activity of helping. In addition to help like offering financial relief, medical aid, etc., case workers provide help through counseling. Caseworkers, while offering counseling services, utilize similar process as used by the professional counselors. The emphasis is given on the process of counseling for releasing clients' anxiety and strains. Therefore, during the process of casework, counseling is provided to the clients under the following conditions. Aptekar, 1955, Mishra, 1992. 1. The individual is under tension, arising from incompatible personal desires or from the conflict of social and environmental demands with individual needs. The tension and stress so created are greater than the stress involved in expressing his feelings about his problems. 2. The individual has some capacity to cope with life. He possesses adequate ability and stability to exercise some control over the elements of his situation. The circumstances with which he is faced are changeable as to make it possible for him to control or alter them. 3. There is an opportunity for the individual to express his conflicting tensions in planned contacts with the counselor. 4. The person is able to express these tensions and conflicts either verbally or through Other media. A conscious desire for help is advantageous, but not entirely necessary. 5. The person is reasonably independent either emotionally or spatially, of close family. Control. 6. The person is reasonably free from excessive instabilities, particularly of an organic nature. 7. The person possesses an adequate intelligence for coping with his life situations. 8. The person is mature enough to deal somewhat independently with life and retain some elasticity of adjustment. 1.10 Similarities between casework and counseling. Counseling is one of the techniques of social casework, which is used to prepare the client to participate in the treatment plan. It means that there are certain similarities in casework and counseling, and these include 1. Similar objectives. The purpose of social casework is to help an individual client to solve his psychosocial problems in such a way that he becomes capable of dealing with these problems at present and also may solve in future if such problems arise. Counseling aims at enabling individuals to solve the present problems, to prepare themselves for future tasks and to attain a higher degree of efficiency in dealing with his problems. 2. Similar type of clients. In casework and counseling, client is a man, woman, or child, anyone who finds himself or is found to be in need of help in some aspect of his social emotional living, shelter, the need be for tangible provisions or counseling. 3. Similar type of problems. The problems within the purview of social casework are those that vitally affect or are affected by person's social functioning. In case work, client sees his problems as lying in some interacting relationship between himself and some other persons or between himself and his environment. Help is provided to the client for some readjustment of the self in relation to the demands and expectations of the social role he plays. Help is also directed to the readjustment of some parts of his social environment. If the client finds that his inner problems exert such pressure over his problems of social functioning, he may need counseling. 4. Relationship. The relationship is the medium in casework as well as in counseling through which help is provided to the client. It is the channel of the entire case work process and counseling process through which the mobilization of the capacities of the client becomes possible. It is planned throughout in interviewing, study, diagnosis and treatment. 5. Worth and dignity of the individual. Casework and counseling treat the client as an individual who has right to get hope and reorganize as a person of worth and dignity. He has every right to make his choice and decisions himself. 6. Common principles. Social casework and counseling both believe in the individualization of all clients irrespective of their similarities in the problems. Both accept the client as he is and provide opportunities for self-expression. Caseworker and counselor do not impose their own judgment to the clients. Client has every right to determine his own path for his easy recovery from malfunctioning. 1.11 Differences between casework and counseling. There are many threads that run in common between casework and counseling, yet the two processes are different, and some of these differences include the following. 1. The main base of help in social casework is social service, whereas in counseling, help is provided to the client without social service. 2. Social casework is always practiced in an agency, but agency is not essentially required in counseling. 3. In social casework, concrete service is rendered along with oral discussion, but concrete service is not provided in counseling. Counselor and client talk together on the problem, but no material help is provided. 4. In casework, client is studied and understood as a whole, but counselor is concerned and deals with one type of problem in one time. 5. Social casework gives an emphasis on activity, but in counseling, the client is enabled to understand his problem 6. In social case work, the emphasis is basically on client and the type of service to be provided, but in counseling, an emphasis is laid on the problem, not the person concerned. 1.12 Summary. Since 20th century onwards, social work has started being observed as profession. Charity and philanthropy embedded in religious, educational and personality building activities were the basis of this kind of social work initiatives. Professional social work, or precisely case work, began in America. In 1877, charity organization Society, COS, was established and relief to the needy was provided through volunteers known as friendly visitors. In 1905, Mary Richmond and Francis H. McLean organized the first family welfare association to deliver casework services in systematic manner. In India, social work as a professional discipline was started in 1936, with the starting of Sir Dorabji Tata Graduate School of Social Work. The knowledge base of casework is enriched by disciplines like dynamic psychology, ego psychology, and the various theoretical developments in sociology, social psychology, psychiatry, and cultural anthropology. Now, social case work is described as a process used by certain human welfare agencies to help individuals to cope more effectively with their problems in social functioning. The practice of case work as method of social work rests on purpose and values and follows a four-phase process. Study, assessment, intervention, and termination are the main steps of case work process. Counseling is a helping relationship. The major objective of counseling is to help individuals become self-sufficient, self-dependent, self-directed, and to adjust themselves efficiently to the demands of a better and meaningful life. Therefore, the counselor's services are preventive, developmental, and therapeutic in nature. Both social case work and counseling are professional activity of helping. The former provides counseling to their clients in different circumstances following the similar process as followed in other helping professions, though there are intersecting strands between social case work and counseling, yet the two are different from one another. Thank you for listening. We will be back with next chapter.